New developments in a key case from the Mueller probe. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn had pled guilty to lying to the feds in a cooperation deal. He's now trying to withdraw that guilty plea. Now, Flynn's false claims are not in doubt tonight, but there is new scrutiny on what the FBI did before Flynn made those claims to the FBI. For the first time, we're seeing how they approached Flynn, then one of the most powerful officials in the White House, during a high-stakes investigation into Russian links to the Trump campaign or the administration. Here is the record from January 2017. It was secret until now. An FBI official laying out different scenarios for the Flynn interview and asking in writing, quote, "What's our goal? Truth, admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired?" That quote is a fascinating look inside that probe. It shows how aggressive the FBI agents were as they approached Flynn. Now, they had reasons to be skeptical and expect him to make false statements about his Russia contacts, which he did. But as a matter of judgment, these notes do add to questions about whether that approach was warranted. Now, on one hand, FBI agents, just like police, are routinely very aggressive in questioning subjects and suspects, especially when there's already evidence that the people they're approaching are hiding the truth. On the other hand, this was the lawfully appointed National Security Advisor of the United States. It was also one part of the executive branch, the FBI, questioning another on the national security side, which does raise potential confusion about whether this was a work meeting discussion or an interrogation. And that sheds light on one other quote from these brand new files. That same official writing how it was key to, quote, "protect our institution by not playing games. If we're seen playing games, the White House will be furious." Well, there, the FBI official is apparently arguing that they would have to try to play it straight so the FBI wasn't caught in the middle of some internal game. Now, these notes, they don't change the fact that Flynn made false statements about his Russia contacts. But I want to be clear with you on this development in the story. They do raise valid questions about how the FBI approached going at this official. They also raise a larger policy question about the blurry line between talking to a coworker and the FBI coming and knocking to interrogate someone. And let's be clear, this is not an entirely new legal dilemma. The FBI was also aggressive in questioning another top-ranking official who also was in the position of being a coworker. You may remember, former Obama CIA Director David Petraeus. And he also got in legal trouble more for false statements than for underlying conduct. The point here, especially on a matter as big as the convictions from the Mueller probe, is that we need all the facts we can get, transparently, and without a political agenda about cherry-picking any one of them. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.